Johnny Talks Sports here with my Week 5 NFL predictions. Now, last week was a really strong week. 12-4. That's a good response to the bad 8-8 Week 3. Let's try to carry that momentum into Week 5. I got a feeling that I might not do so well this week as I did last week, because there are a lot of these games that could probably either go either way, and I don't even want to pick half these games. Maybe not initially half of them, but there are quite a few that I really don't feel like picking. But I will, because I respect the integrity of the whole pick'em process. We have 4 teams on the bye week, so this is going to affect a lot, including fantasy. Comment fantasy football questions down below. But honestly, I don't know how big of a help I can really be, because fantasy football is a game that's 99.95% luck. There's only a 0.5% of skill involved with a game like that. So I'll try to answer whatever I can. I know Kyle does sports. He's been really asking for fantasy stuff throughout the last couple of weeks, and really means a lot that out of all people in this world, I would be the one that he reaches out to. So it really means a lot. Also, check out Fantasy Headliners. They do really great fantasy football advice. Sometimes I may not think the same, but still, fantasy football is kind of a game of luck. Only about 0.5% skill. It's almost like a guessing game. But they do such a good job with the guessing game, so they deserve a big shout out. Let's get into the Week 5 NFL picks. We've got the New England Patriots versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers Thursday night. This is almost one of the games I don't want to pick, because this could go either way. But I'm going to pick New England, and the reason why I'm picking New England is because people are riding off the Patriots right now. People are already hitting the panic button on the Patriots, looks like. At least the critics are. With the Patriots being 2-2 and defending Super Bowl champions, they're hitting the panic button already. They're wondering, is this the end of Tom Brady? Is this the end of the Patriots dynasty? And every time that the critics get onto that, are the Patriots done? That's when they start pulling wins. That's when they start pulling out some wins. And I think Thursday's going to be no exception. I think this is going to be a really close game. I just feel like if the Tampa Bay's offense can get past that secondary, I think Tampa Bay could win this game. But I think New England's going to win this game throughout the whole purpose of, as soon as people kind of start riding off teams like the Patriots, that's when they start winning games. And I'm picking the Patriots to win this one, but only by 7. I think it's going to be really high scoring. This could be the game of the week. I'm going to say 45-30. I think Tampa Bay gets some points on the... I'm going to get a bunch of points off the board, a plethora of points. So I will pick New England. Next, we got the New York Jets versus the Cleveland Browns. I'll go with the Jets. The Jets have won the last 2 games, and why stop winning now? I mean, everybody thought they were going to go 0-16, 1-15. And now they're 2-2. They're even ahead of the Patriots in the division. So, why stop winning now? Especially with Cleveland getting blown out at home by Cincinnati last week. I'm going with the Jets. Panthers versus the Lions. This is going to be an interesting match as well. This could go either way as well. In fact, all 3 games I've predicted so far could go either way. But I'm thinking Detroit's going to win this game. I just feel like Detroit at home, I think that's really dangerous. Because the Lions are a pretty good team at home. And the Panthers coming off a game-winning field goal victory against the Patriots. I'm thinking the Lions are kind of on to things right now. And I think the Lions continue their winning ways. I just still can't trust the Panthers' defense despite allowing 30 points in that game to the Patriots. I'm still not sold on how the Panthers' defense is, especially with receivers that the Lions have, especially with Golden Tate and Marvin Jones. I'm thinking that Detroit's receivers will make a difference in this matchup. We've got the San Francisco 49ers and the Indianapolis Colts next. I'll go with the Colts. I mean, the Colts really competed really well for the first half against Seattle. In San Francisco, they had a somewhat morale victory, losing in overtime to the Cardinals. But the 49ers didn't score a single touchdown in the game. In fact, the 49ers have kind of struggled a bit. I mean, that week 3 matchup against the Rams, that was kind of a little bit of a fluke in a way. So I'm going with the Colts. Next, we have the Tennessee Titans versus Miami Dolphins. I'm picking the Titans, but how are they going to respond after getting blown out, after allowing the most points in, after letting the Texans score the most points in franchise history with 57 last week? In fact, the Titans and Texans I picked the Titans last week, and I'll just accept that defeat. That's one pick I really wish I'd have back. There's probably going to be a lot of them this year, but that's kind of the first one. That's the first pick that I wish I could have back. But I'll go with the Titans to respond really well. I feel like Miami's offense has been really in evidence so far this year. I know they have that victory against the Chargers, but the Chargers are 0-4. And I just feel like Miami's defense has been not evident so far this year. So I'm going to go with the Titans for that sole purpose. The Bills versus the Bengals. I'm picking Cincinnati in this one. I know the Bills had a huge victory against the Falcons last week on the road, but Julio Jones and Mohamed Sanu left that game. And plus, Taylor Gabriel was held on that 4th-and-1 play. I don't care what anybody says. That was defensive holding. That was the worst no call I've ever seen in my life. Well, actually, the no call on defensive holding in the 2013 NFC Championship game was probably the worst call I've seen in my life. Actually, no. I think the no face mask call on Mohamed Sanu was the worst no call in my life. I don't know. Let's just say it's up in the top 5. But I'm going with the Bengals. I just feel like the last 2 weeks, ever since the Bengals got the new offensive coordinator, things are starting to click right now. And I'm thinking they're going to click again. I think the switched offensive coordinator is what's going to ride the Bengals for the rest of the year. In fact, I'm not sure, though, with 3 running backs right now on the Bengals, Jeremy Hill, Giovanni Bernard, and Joe Mixon, I got some strange feeling that the Bengals may trade either Jeremy Hill or Giovanni Bernard to a team that might need a running back at some point before the end of the trade deadline. I'm not quite sure when the trade deadline is. If someone knows in the comment section, comment down below. But I'm not sure. I'm thinking one of those two might get traded. But I'm going to pick the Bengals. Next, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers and the New York Giants. I'll go with the Chargers. I don't know why. Just 0-4 team. Somebody's got to win this game. Maybe it'll even be a tie. Who knows? Jacksonville versus Pittsburgh. It's nice that the Jacksonville Jaguars are back to reality. They're losing to the Jets after dominating the Ravens in London. It's good that the Jaguars are back to reality. And it's going to be a big reality once the Steelers win by over 13 points. And I'm just being generous to Jaguar fans by saying they're going to lose by 13 points. I can't believe people think they're going to go to the... They've been going to the play. I can't believe... Hang on, let me say that again. I can't believe that people actually thought this team could make a playoff run. Or make a run to the playoffs. I can't believe people thought that. Next, we got the Arizona Cardinals versus Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, never mind. I'll go with the Eagles. Seattle Seahawks versus the Los Angeles Rams. That's one of the games that can go either way. But I'll go with the Rams. I just like how that offense has been clicking so far right now. But I feel there might be a point in the year where it just falls apart. But the Rams historically have done well against the Seahawks, especially at home. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Oakland Raiders. I'll go with the Ravens. I don't know. Last year, when we saw those 2 games the Raiders played without Derek Carr, they just looked lost on offense. I think it's going to apply here for this game. I'm picking the Ravens this one, despite the Ravens really struggling on offense so far this year, especially in the last 2 weeks in London against the Jaguars and the Steelers last week. I feel like they got a little bit of momentum from that Steelers game. So I am going to pick the Ravens to beat these Raiders. I just think that the Raiders are not the same team without Derek Carr. And those 2 games last year proves my point. Next up, the Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys. Now this is not really a coin flip because I don't want to debate. I just feel like this game could go either way. Because both these teams have not really had their best moments this year. They haven't had their star moments where they could make a Super Bowl run. But I'll go with the Cowboys. And I'm thinking the Cowboys might win this game. Although we don't know if Zeke is going to play in this game because he got the court hearing this week. But we'll see what happens. But I still think the Cowboys might win. I just feel like being in Cowboy Stadium will, and plus the Packers kind of struggled in the beginning of the year, but they bounced back toward the month of November. Next, we got the Chiefs versus the Texans. I'm going with the Chiefs. I know the Texans really dominated last week against the Titans, but I'm thinking that Kansas City will win this game. I just feel like that running game will be a difference maker, as it has been for the first couple of weeks of the year. I'm now with Minnesota and Chicago, the Monday night game. Chicago is finally handing the reins to Mitch Trubisky, who they traded up one pick to draft him despite having Mike Glennon for a 2-year, $60 million contract. But I'm still picking the Vikings, despite them losing Dalvin Cook for the season with a torn ACL injury. There's still a possibility they might get Sam Bradford back for this game. But if not, Case Keenum's done really enough this year. Especially, he's been able to find receivers. Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, those who've really stepped up for the Vikings so far this year. And I'm thinking that's going to continue. I just feel like Chicago's not... I know they had that win against the Steelers, but that's almost like a fluke win. The Steelers have not been looking good either so far this year. At least in some aspects of the side of the ball. On the side of the coin, in a way. But I still think the Vikings are going to win this matchup. I do think this is going to be a close game, probably low scoring. I think it's going to be somewhere in between 20-14 range. But I still think the Vikings are going to win. Those are my picks for Week 5. If you're keeping score at home, I got the Patriots, Jets, Lions, Colts, Titans, Bengals, Chargers, Steelers, Eagles, Rams, Ravens, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Vikings all winning this week. Comment your picks down below. Comment your thoughts about my picks down below as well. Also like and subscribe. We're really close to 1,000. I can almost taste it. Anyway, I will see you next time. Have a great day, everyone.